What's up, everybody? My name's Godzi, and welcome back to Umineko When They Cry Questions Arc. Last episode, we finally made it to the island after a ridiculous boat ride and a few creepy things. But, hey, that's to be expected when it's classified as a horror game on Steam. So, now we're gonna continue. I remember the Rose Garden, but I don't remember this guest house at all. Was it built recently? Oh my god, I don't know how to pronounce words. Tarayan? I'm guessing it's Tarayan. Tarayan, Visitor's Retreat, was written on a gatepost-like thing, but since everyone called it the guest house, I followed their lead. The brand new Western-style guest house, which stood overlooking the roses, had a magnificent design carefully done in harmony with the garden. Oh, shit, what voice did I give George? Correct. It was built the year before last. Ever since then, they've had us sleep over here. This place is more fun than that junky old mansion you knew. I wish my room was over here. Ew, I want a room here too. I want one. I guess you could say my own house was upper class, but to me it felt completely ordinary compared to the head family. The display of wealth was shocking, as was the fact that they'd... I can't read this fast. As was the fact that they'd build this kind of awesome guest house for guests who came over only a few times a year. Eva, Hideyoshi, please do make use of this room. Oh yeah, something I need to mention is that my thumbnails are likely going to be using the PS3 sprites of the characters because it's impossible to find PNGs of the Steam sprites. If anyone knows where to find one, please do tell me, because I have no clue where to find them. Rudolph, Kyrie, please take this room here. I really do love how beautiful and elegant this place is. Western-style architecture truly is wonderful. It looks awfully generic, kinda. Like, regular wooden floor, regular doors. I mean, there's that weird thing above the open door there. I don't know what that's supposed to be, but yeah. I guess I'm just kind of numb to Western-styled things, being, you know, from the West. Oh shit, I already read that paragraph. I can handle Western design for a few days, but any longer than that and you need the good old Japanese look. Japanese people just relax best on tatami mats. Haha. They've been fighting over whether to make our new house Japanese style or Western style. Mom still holds a grudge about Dad having the construction started with a Japanese layout, and they bicker all the time about it. I'm really jealous, George. Your parents get along well, don't they? He just said they were fighting, but whatever. Mine are so frosty. Then again, they're always in sync when it comes to my grades. All the rooms seem to be for two people. I was grateful, since I wasn't gonna be forced to share the same room with the old bastard under the pretext that we were family. And anyway, I figured those two wouldn't be able to enjoy themselves with someone like me around, ehehe. What's with that creepy smile? You're thinking about something dirty, aren't you? Something dirty? Of course not! Please enjoy your stay. Ow, ow! That hurts, you old bastard. Oh shit, I was gonna jump straight into his voice. Okay, if there's one critique I have about this game, it's that sometimes I don't know who's talking, and like, it'd be one thing if it had the traditional text boxes at the bottom with the character's name above it, like Danganronpa or Doki Doki Literature Club had, but it's not that bad. It's only really bad when they don't show the sprites. Once again, Dad pulled my ears from behind. Cut the crap. I'm getting a stomachache and I'm not in the mood for this. You're the guest of honor this time around, so play as nice as possible with Dad and George and the rest. At the very least, be careful of what you say in front of Dad, got it? Because wisecracks don't go too well with him. Jessica, what's the head's mood been like lately? Same as last year, I guess. Considering they say he's got 3 months left to live, he's as lively, grumpy, and irritable as ever. Meaning this year he's in his usual bad mood. And as usual, the only one who's able to look after him is Genji? It seems the master will open his heart to no one else. I forgot Kumasala exists. Lately, us small people have not even been... Lately, us small people have not even been granted an audience with him. He shut himself up in his study again, probably doing nothing but that weird black magic of his. What he does for a hobby is his own damn business, but when he starts stinking up the house, it really gets on my nerves. I wish he'd never come out of that study again. Uh-oh. You shouldn't talk like that about the elderly. We're all indebted. Indebted? It's one of the hardest words to pronounce. Because you'd think it'd be indebted. But it's weird. English words are weird. We're all indebted to him, since he rebuilt the Ushiromiyas family. We should be more grateful. Well, sorry. After being rebuked by George, Jessica had no choice but to take back her thoughtless remark. The Ushiromiyas family was wealthy beyond belief, but of course, that meant all its members were a bit strange and completely out of touch with the world at large. And at the top of the chain, the family head, our grandfather, seemed especially strange and terrifying, even for our family. Dad said he was getting a stomachache earlier, and I imagine that reflected the honest feelings of all the adults here today. No doubt they were jealous of us grandchildren, who could just play around and laugh without a care. From the stories Dad told me, the family head was a violent man who ruled with his fists, beating his children, even his daughters, mercilessly with a wooden sword. Oh God. Get over here, you little bitch. No, Dad, please. Bam! Ow! Why do you have to do that to me? You took $5 from me again. It's my wealth. I created it. I'll die with it. Dad! No, give it back, Rudolph. Or else I'll give you I'll make your name more appropriate by beating your nose next. Oh no, not my nose. If he was so strict and uptight about that, why couldn't he have been a little more conservative with his kids' names? Because of that, even us grandkids have had to suffer. Yeah, we know. Anyway, I can't say I have any trouble believing those terrifying stories about him. I don't remember meeting him very often, but I think I recall him looking extremely grumpy all the time, always making people cower with that sharp gaze of his. I remember that the room's atmosphere got so tense whenever he was around you couldn't even breathe. What my dad said about me being the guest of honor now carries a little more oomph for me. 6 years ago I was in elementary school, but I'm a high schooler now. If I act up, things could get serious. Ooh, scary. He does look frightening, but he's not so terrifying that you need to tense up like that. Nothing of what he says is truly unreasonable. He may be clumsy at talking, but he's a very logical person. He was kinda screaming in the prologue, but okay. But George, you've been the family... Fuck! I can't speak! I shouldn't do this shit less than an hour after I wake up. But George, you've been the family darling since like forever because of your awesome grades, right? Grandfather treats us completely different. I've even gotten slapped with a wooden sword. On my ass! My ass! On my maidenly innocent ass! Well, you're the heiress of the head family, Jessica. Grandfather is giving you special attention. You've got to realize that his strictness reflects his high hopes for you. Oh, come on. Seriously, I could just turn the succession over to you, George. It's a bit of a heavy burden for me to carry. I think I already said it before, but Jessica's the girl heir to the head family. Yeah, you did. We're only cousins in branch family, so she probably feels a totally different sort of pressure than we do. Eh? Jessica, is that heavy? If I help hold it, will it get lighter? Thanks. It's okay, I'm not gonna push it on you, Maria. I'm gonna bear this cross until my grave. Don't worry. Huh. There's a lot of death flags popping up. She was grateful for Maria's innocent concern, but Jessica's face still seemed to contain some of the uneasiness she felt towards the future. Maybe we were in the same boat. Any high schooler with exams approaching would have trouble hiding their anxiety for the future. Maria, come here. You and I will be in this room. Battler, I heard you're gonna be with me in this room here. Then where the heck is Jessica room? Because there's all the sets of parents, except Rosa's single, so she's with Maria. Then George and Battler, so Jessica's just by herself? Okay. Oh? Now there's a surprise. It's bigger than our parents' room. Dang. Well, I figured we cousins would all want to hang out together. Oh, all 3 of them are together. So I told them to get a bigger room ready. I like it here more too. I'd rather be here than with Mama. Ooh. I fucked up the voice there, but I don't care. Oh, you like it better here too, Maria? Okay, this room is George's and mine, but we'll give you special permission to come in. Better keep it a secret from your mom, okay? Ooh. Oh, so, okay, I guess it makes sense that Jessica wouldn't be with them. It's a secret! Aunt Rosa was right behind us, but Maria still answered, striking the air with her fists clenched tight. After setting down their luggage in their rooms, our parents had gathered again in the corridor. Hey, what are you brats planning to do? Are you cousins just gonna stay here and chat? It seemed they were heading to the mansion to announce their arrival. Normally they would make us follow them and greet everyone together, but if that had been the case, Dad would have just told us to come and that'd be the end of it. He's saying it's okay if we don't come. So, what'll we do? Well, it's gonna be lunchtime before long anyway. Better let the kids unwind here. Besides, if worse comes to worse, this might be their last chance to play outdoors. Ugh, I'll go too. Maria, you house sit for Mama, okay? Behave yourself and wait here. Since Maria was being told to house sit here, we certainly couldn't leave her on her own, and I accidentally pressed the next button, whatever. George noticed this immediately and gave a queer reply for all of us cousins. Well then, we'll accept your offer and house sit. We've got loads of stories to tell each other after being away for a year. That sounds wonderful. And Battler has 6 years worth of stories to tell, doesn't he? Yeah. I'll take care of the house like a good boy. Kumasawa, I'm gonna stay here too. We'll break rank and leave the rest to the adults. Perhaps that would be best. I'll report it to Madame. Then allow me to guide you all to the mansion. This way, please. The other children are one thing, but George is getting to be an adult. Wouldn't it be better if he came with us? That was kind of a combination of Eva's and Kumasawa's voice, so that was fucking problematic. If we make him come, then poor George will be the only one out of place. Ugh, interacting with his cousins is also important. Okay, see y'all later. The adults left one after the other. They left in the same formation as our trip from the harbor, with Goto leading and Kumasawa taking up the rear. As we gathered in the room assigned to us cousins, George asked us to excuse him for a second. He rushed over to Kumasawa, who was following behind the disappearing adults, and seemed to ask her something. He soon finished his business and came back. I don't exactly remember that from the show, but I feel like I slightly have an idea of what he's talking about. I'm pretty sure it involves a character we haven't seen yet. That's actually probably the only character we haven't seen yet. So, that's interesting. What's up, George? Nothing. I just wanted to ask her something. Yeah, okay, I think that is it. Tell me too. Tell me too. What could George be asking Kumasawa and not me, I wonder? I don't have a clue. No, it's a misunderstanding. Oh yeah, it is that. Okay. Not that I know what you're misunderstanding. George was getting pretty tongue-tied. It was almost as though he felt guilty about something, and Jessica knew exactly what he was worried about. At any rate, it's no fun if Jessica gets to know about it and not me. Hey Maria, it looks like we're the only 2 out of the loop, right? Don't you want to know what they're talking about? We want to know too. We want to know too. Sorry if you hear random cracking. My monitor is old and it makes weird cracking sounds, like... It's just, you know, super duper old. Oh, that was a Battler? Ooh. I fooled around while oohing together with Maria. No, I'm telling you, it's no big deal. Liar. I'm surprised you'd tell such a terrible lie, George. Confess. Maria, you tickle his right side, I'll tickle his left. Ew. I've got his right side, Battler's got his left. Ew. Wait a second. Wait, you two. Stop. Oh my god. Maria and I played around, chasing George as he tried to escape, rolling on the bed. The sound effects are even weirder than the dialogue sometimes. I realize high schoolers aren't supposed to bounce around like kittens, but I still miss this kind of fun. A warm, cozy kind of fun. Haha, George, what were you asking Kumasawa? Well, I've got a good guess. It's been a year since the last time he visited the head family. Who knows what servants might have come and gone during that time? Yup, it's that. Either way, it looks like he'd like to go and say hi. Say hi. I want to say hi too. What the hell? That's nothing to feel guilty about, George. I'm not buying it. Maria, don't be fooled. George is still hiding something. More torture. Warrior. Stop it, seriously. Maria, you two, stop already. She's probably busy cleaning or getting lunch ready. Don't worry, she'll drop by to say hi sooner or later. Yup, it's that. I bet you'd rather have been welcomed in by Shannon instead of that nosy Goda. I can't pronounce some of these words. Shannon? Shannon. Ah, yeah, I remember a girl with that name. Is she still a servant? How's she doing? Fades out. Now what? Oh, are we finally gonna see, Okay, I think we're finally gonna see Jessica's parents. By the way, Natsuhi, how's your headache been lately? It seemed pretty serious before. Alright, oh god, back problems come back again. What voice do I give her? Maybe a more calm voice, because Actually, Kyrie is really calm, too. I fucking don't know. I'll just make something up. I have been much better lately. Thank you for your concern. Oh, right. Here. A present for you, Natsuhi. Thank you very much. I'm always receiving gifts from you. Is this black tea? It's herb tea with peppermint and lemon balm. It's a blend from a well-known store, and it's supposed to be good for headaches. I thought it might help you, too. Rosa was always a conscientious woman. Probably because she was the youngest of four and much younger than the other three. She managed to grow up without gaining the venomous nature of her siblings. Wait, whose perspective are we from right now? Because Batward wouldn't be here. Her kind words got Natsuhi to soften her expression for just a moment. But it wasn't enough to melt her stony gaze, hardened as it was by long years of mental stress. It's probably not one of the four main siblings. Maybe Hideyoshi or Kyrie? Come to think of it, you're always complaining about those headaches. Pull yourself together. Jessica has her exams this year, right? That's going to be a turning point in her life. Will she really be able to rely on you as a mother if you're like that? Besides, Natsuhi, you're 3 years younger than me. You should get your act together. I apologize. I've had a tendency for headaches all my life. Yeah, I do remember her always being, like, in pain or something. Even under normal circumstances, Eva sometimes failed to choose her words carefully. But her comments aimed at Natsuhi contained shards of obvious malice, though she hid it with a smile. Of course, that fact didn't escape Natsuhi. She frantically contained her urge to grimace and pretended to ignore Eva. Our butler will have his exams this year too. Rudolph, shouldn't you be a little concerned as well? For the sake of your own son, you'd better get serious to the point of having headaches like Natsuhi. If I say anything, he automatically rebels. So what should I say? Should I say the opposite, that it's okay for him to mess around? Oh, we could be from the perspective of one of the, servants. Maybe Goda? That's probably the only way I could get him to listen to me. Hideyoshi, George did really well on his exams, right? Please, you've got to teach me the trick to handling children. Well, it's probably because I got him to understand why he should study. Study isn't worth anything on its own. Oh boy, that's a new expression. That's right, the real point of studying is to practice research and stuff on your own whenever you bump into something you don't know. If you can't do that, you can't be useful to society. I'm not talking about math or writing. You gotta learn how to learn. That's splendid. I wish our Jessica could understand that as well. If she is to be the heiress of the Ushiromiyas family, then at this rate... Do you really have to force her into becoming the successor? After all, a woman has to find a woman's happiness. Parents shouldn't force such things on their children, don't you think? Hold your horses, Eva. Each family has its own way of raising their kids. You shouldn't be pushy. I'm sorry. Natsuhi, don't take it the wrong way. Natsuhi always seems like she can just see through everybody. It's kind of ridiculous. Though the light shining in through the window was quite warm despite the cloudy weather, there was a dark mood about the room, which was probably causing headaches for more than just Natsuhi. As if to sweep away that mood, Kyrie brightly made a suggestion to all present. Okay, so it's not from Kyrie's perspective. Still, this black tea has a really lovely aroma. Oh, the music. Where's the music? Oh, it was just looping. Okay. Let's drink it right away. In Japan, surely you couldn't find something like Leopold's black tea anywhere but Ginza, right? I see you know a lot about it, Kyrie. I guess it was worth going to the trouble of buying it. Kyrie and Rosa stood up from their seats and made as if to prepare the black tea, but Natsuhi restalled them. I thank you both, but we can try that later. One of our people will soon be coming to bring some tea, so please relax. Leave it for later, you two. Let's enjoy our welcome drink. Rudolph gave a subtle I can't do it. I can't speak. Rudolph gave a subtle signal with his eyes for them to sit down again. Kyrie and Rosa understood instantly and obediently returned to their seats. I mispronounced obediently, but whatever. The initial greeting of the guests was complete, so it was time for them to be served some tea. Yeah, I think it's definitely, probably from Goda's perspective. It was embarrassing for the host that the tea was late, especially now that the guests were talking about making tea themselves. Natsuhi bit her lower lip, frustrated by the ineptitude of the servants who were late bringing in the tea. Seeing her face, Eva immediately started to giggle. Of course, Shannon had no way of knowing what was taking place in the parlor. She came pushing a serving cart piled with teacups. For no apparent reason, Natsuhi gave her a pained look, and Shannon couldn't help but flinch without knowing what she had done wrong. Oh god, back problems return again. What's with all the back problems? And I don't know what voice to give her. Maybe semi-high-pitched, but not too high-pitched? Excuse me, your tea is ready. Oh, Shannon, it's been a while. My voice gets deeper every time I speak. You keep getting prettier every time I see you. Oh, thanks. Save the chatting for after you've set the table. The tea will get cold. I apologize, madame. She apologized like a small frightened animal, bumped against the serving cart and made a jarring racket as she dropped several teaspoons. Her clumsiness made Natsuhi's expression turn even darker, which made Shannon quail even more. I don't remember Natsuhi being that rude. I thought it was Eva who was rude, but she seems rather chill. Maybe I'm just misremembering things from 2 years ago. Come on, Natsuhi. There's nothing wrong with her exchanging a few words in greeting. The tea must be plenty cold already, considering how long we've been kept waiting. There's no need to worry. It's not cold yet. Shannon finished setting the table, quickly. I'm sorry, madame. Natsuhi's irritation was obvious by now. The ineptitude that delayed the tea, the clumsiness of the servant, everything pointed to the incompetence of Natsuhi's everyday leadership, making her lose face. Yeah, I think this is from Goda's expression. Perspective. As the person in charge of the Ushiromiyas head family's kitchen, Logan's playing Gary's mod, allowing that clumsiness to be exposed, today of all days, was surely nothing less than total humiliation. Lay off, Natsuhi. Don't you think it's a little harsh to bully Shannon when she's trying her best? I'm not bullying anyone. What a nice aroma. May I ask what brand this is? I'm terribly sorry. I'll find out for you later. Kyrie was trying to be nice, hoping to cut through the tense mood. However, Shannon had embarrassed herself instead, darkening Natsuhi's face in the room's mood. By this point, Eva was audibly giggling. What's this? Shannon, don't you even know what you're pouring us? Come now, you mustn't serve something so suspicious to guests. We'll need a silver spoon at the very least before we can drink this. I'm sorry. I'll go get one immediately. Shannon, do you know what silver spoons are used for? They have to be silver. Do you know why? No. A teasing smile rose to Eva's face as she stared at Shannon setting, yeah, I was saying it right, setting the table. By itself, Eva's expression was sweet in an impish sort of way. However, the words being spun from her lips held the keenness of a razor within them. Shannon tried with all her might to avoid Eva's continuing gaze. Realizing that Shannon was hard-pressed for an answer, Rosa gave some timely help. They say that if silver is touched by poison, it darkens. Guess you've learned something today, Shannon. They were acting as though this tea needed to be tested for poison before it could be drunk. I don't think that's proper tense, but it doesn't matter. In Natsuhi's eyes, this was an insult both to the tea and to herself for serving it. Rudolph laughed flippantly and patted Eva's shoulder. Haha, silver cutlery wouldn't do any good for you, Eva. Just one lick of your poisonous tongue and even a silver plate would turn pitch black. Since I get to hear that poison tongue every day, I must be poison-proof myself by now. Eva, I don't mind when you use it on me, but you'd better hold back when talking to people who haven't built up a resistance. My, how cruel. All I did was teach Shannon a bit about tea, didn't I? Everyone followed the lead set by Hideyoshi's horse laugh and chuckled, though not easily. Only Natsuhi didn't join in. But for the time being, the conversation inside the parlor could now be mistaken for a lively and friendly chat. As Shannon finally finished setting the table— fucking hell, I can't read! Setting the tea table and tried to leave, Kyrie apologized to her in a low voice for not being able to help. Shannon gave a light bow and made a hasty retreat. Shannon cast her eyes downwards as she pushed the cart down the corridor. Anyone seeing the pitiful way she looked might easily conclude that she'd been bullied in some way. Don't be sad. You didn't do anything wrong, Shannon. You were watching? That is my role. These two seem awfully out of place to be servants. I guess that's probably the point of their character, but still. Madame and Eva can go to hell. But the worst coward is that guy. Cannon glared hatefully in the opposite direction of the parlor. What? The preparations for the tea had been delayed by some trifling problems in the kitchen. These problems were not Shannon's fault. In fact, it had been Goda's mistake. Oh, so it wouldn't be from Goda's perspective. Maybe it was from Cannon's, I don't know. After all, there was no way a show-off like Goda would give up a flashy job like bringing in tea when the guests arrived. He had ended up wasting time preparing the tea once again. So, when he realized he wouldn't be able to score any points for this job, he pushed the task of setting the table on Shannon, who happened to be passing by. You might call it a clever move on his part, but there could be no doubt that it was a cowardly one. Yeah, Goda does strike me as being shitty. It's okay, Cannon. Thanks. I'm not bothered by it at all. These two they're always relatively silent, it's strange. Cannon's silence vividly expressed the distance between Shannon's words and how she actually felt. Thank you. Even if you're the only one who understands, I feel a bit better. You keep your feelings too bottled up, Shannon. You should be less hard on yourself for once. Yeah, thanks. Suddenly they both felt someone's presence and whirled around. Oh boy, here comes Genji. A middle-aged man stood there. It was Genji, the head servant. What are you doing there? Shannon, hurry back to the kitchen. Yes. If you'll excuse me. I am always silent. Shannon humbly obeyed and promptly made to push the cart and leave. However, Cannon appealed to Genji in silence, bearing something in his eyes that he could not express in words. What is it? Did something happen? Shannon didn't do anything wrong. But even so, they... Stop it, Cannon. Please excuse me. I'll return to work immediately. Cannon, you should go back to your post too. Please. If you say so, Shannon. If that is all, then go. Yes. If you'll excuse me. Yep, it's totally from Cannon's perspective. From the shadows in the hallway, an old woman wearing an apron watched over them. It was Kumasawa. I'm over here. Poor Shannon, Cannon. There's no reason for those two to be picked on. Still, Goda's dislike for them is an undeniable fact. Until Goda was taken by the Ushiromiyas head family, I hear he worked for a fabulous hotel somewhere. Oh shit, that's not Kumasawa. Until Goda was taken in by the Ushiromiyas head family, I hear he worked for a fabulous hotel somewhere. The manner of work he earned there was quite impressive, I believe. It's just that Goda is the newest servant here. He must have a lot of pride accumulated from his previous positions. Because Shannon and Cannon are his... Shannon and Cannon... That's probably on purpose with the writing. Are his seniors here at the mansion, and yet are inexperienced and have gone through much less in life than he has. He picks on them at every chance he gets. And also, sad as it may be, they are disliked by Madame Natsuhi too. I should pronounce it Madam, but whenever I see it, I instantly feel like being British. Even though I'm not at all British. Well, maybe I am. I think I'm mostly like German and French, I have no clue. Of course, if we're talking about experience, the madam has been in this family much longer. And yet, this is one point where I cannot help but sympathize with the madam as well. Truly, the master is a man with many sins on his conscience. Why didn't he realize that such a trifling whim of his would give the madam such an inferiority complex? Of course, on the inside, even the madam is fully aware that those two don't deserve to be treated so harshly. Okay, Cannon does not speak in the third person, so who is this from? Maybe Kumasawa? However, the heart has reasons that reason knows not. I feel so sorry for them. I can't do anything but watch over them from the shadows. It's likely Kumasawa. Uh-oh. 11... noon. Or midnight. Probably noon. Okay. I don't know what 12 o'clock has to do with anything. Okay, we're back to the cousins. Nice. The four of us cousins were enjoying our stories, just shooting the breeze. Anyway, there were both girls and guys here. Plus, we had people over a wide spread of ages. Adult, high school, and elementary school. Even if we just talked about our own lives, the other three kept listening attentively. I think I'm finally getting used to all this. Jessica and Maria have grown more than I could have imagined in the past 6 years. To be honest, I was feeling a bit uncomfortable, but talking like this, I guess that on the inside, nothing's really changed since back then. I agree. You haven't changed a bit, even after 6 years. Even though your body's gotten gigantic, you're still a kid inside. Ugh. I'm a kid too. I'm a kid too. Well, even you aren't gonna be a kid forever, are you, Maria? I mean, you're gonna transform from a kid into a cute young lady, aren't you? And when that happens, that flat as a board chest will reach Jessica's level, huh? Jesus Christ, Battler, why are you so weird? When that happens, you gotta let me touch him, okay? It's a promise. Ew! Let you touch him! Promise! Ew! No, Maria. You can't make that kind of promise. That's bad, bad, bad. I promise, so I'll let him touch him. I keep my promises. Always keep them. Ew. Maria, you really are an earnest good girl. The guy you marry is gonna be really lucky. Wrong tone of voice, but whatever. Hey, stop trying to change the subject by making it sound pretty. Maria, that promise never happened. Never. The promise is cancelled? As I thought, without Battler in our little quartet, this group of cousins just didn't feel complete. These 6 years have been kind of lonely. That's true. We didn't really goof off like this. Still, we did have some pretty constructive conversations, right? Stuff about preparing for our future, exam taking, finding jobs. Oh, I'm so sorry. Now that I'm here, we just talk about stupid stuff and mess around. But I'm having more fun this year. Ew. That's true. I agree, this year's the most fun yet. Maria's sincere words probably spoke for everyone present. George stroked Maria's head, and she giggled like a happy kitten. And it fades to black again. A knocking sound. Pardon me, I don't know who's speaking. Your meal is ready. A timid knocking sound in the equally timid voice of a young woman came through the door. Oh, it's Shannon. Okay. Jessica answered brightly. Shannon, come in. You remember Batware, right? Jessica stood from the bed and opened the door. There stood a servant girl who must have been about our age. It's been quite some time since we last met, Batware. It's nice to see you after 6 years. It's me, Shannon. Trembling a little as she noticed me, she bowed deeply. Ah. Jessica had me surprised, but look at you, Shannon. You've turned into a total beauty too, haven't you? You are too kind. Still, the food on this island must be really nutritional, huh? What are you eating and how are you training to get boobs that big? Oh my god, what the fuck? Guess I'll have to feel them a bit and see whether yours or Jessica's are bigger, okay? What the fuck? With both hands poised and saliva dribbling from my mouth, I closed in. For the sake of justice and my personal honor, I'd like to point out that I don't suffer from some strange disease that makes my lymph nodes itch until I scratch my neck open, which can only be prevented by fondling breasts. Huh, I wonder what that's referencing. This is just a Batware-style method of communication. If I slowly close in on her like this, odds are 8 or 9 out of 10 that I get slapped or clobbered, right? So I can use this Batware original technique to spark a gag like that and break the ice. Well, it also means I really do get to touch them on that 1 in 10 chance though, right? Yeah. Like that ever happen? At that point, my hands were less than a centimeter away from Shannon's boobs. But the counterstrike had yet to come. She blushed and lowered her head in embarrassment when she realized what was going on. But she just stood there with both hands politely joined in front of her, not even trying to resist or cover her breasts. Hey, I wasn't planning on this. Please, hit me right now or I'm seriously gonna... Which is why I was glad that Jessica chose that time to drive her elbow into the back of my head. Ow! Thank you so much, Jessica. Well, why the hell are you thanking me? Seriously, my bad, Shannon. I almost got overwhelmed by your hypnotic chest. More importantly, anyone who gets that close has gotta be a molester. You've gotta fight back when people do that. But you are an important guest, Batware. Now look here, a pervert's a pervert whether he's a guest or not. A girl's chest has got an air defense identification range of about 10 centimeters or so. Once someone trespasses within 2 centimeters, that's already an invasion of airspace. So you'd better scramble the jets immediately and give them an instant slap. I couldn't do such a thing, because we are, furniture. Oh my god, she has the cannon syndrome. Of course she didn't want her breasts touched, but if a guest so desired, she was prepared to sacrifice herself to suit their wants. A girl like this needs some urgent protection. To think such devoted girls still existed in this era, it's enough to make a man dizzy. But no. No! I'm coming at you with a perverted face again. Knock me down. Look out, pervert on the loose. This gag can't end until you deliver the punchline, so slap me. Please. Hit me! I cannot fulfill your request, because I'm furniture. But, if it were an order, I'd obey you, because that is my duty. Then I'll make it an order. The next time Battler tries to touch your breasts, counterattack with a slap. Got it? Yes, as you wish. From now on, that's what I'll do. Please understand, Battler. Shannon announced this while bowing elegantly to me. Her expression was radiant. I gave her a thumbs up to show her I was fine with that. 6 years ago, you might have been mistaken for a servant's daughter who lent a hand at your parents' work. But now you're a full-fledged adult servant. How long have you been working here? Well, I've had the pleasure of serving this household for about 10 years. 10! Wow. She's Japanese text. The kanji for her name are read as Shannon. Now here's another name that's far from typical for a Japanese person. Back in the day, I was a kid myself, so I accepted her name without paying it much attention. Thinking about it now, though, her name's pretty unusual, even though she's not a member of the Ushiromiyas family. Maybe it's like a servant's professional name or something. If so, that might explain why her name's so similar to Cannon's, that kid I met earlier in the Rose Garden. She's a long-term servant who served here since she was 6 years old. Her appearance had changed so much that I couldn't match her to the person in my memories, but we both knew each other 6 years ago. That shy part of her had always been there, but she did seem to have developed the allure you'd expect of a girl her age. Especially in her breasts. Yes. Wow. That kid we met earlier, Cannon, is her little brother. He's not exactly my little brother. Still, he loves me like a big sister. He didn't cause you any trouble, did he? Haha. He's the same as always. If only he were just a bit more sociable. I apologize if he's caused you any trouble. Nah, he didn't cause any trouble at all. As a fellow man, I understand how moody you can get at that age. It's no surprise he's unsociable. I get called that all the time too. I get called unsociable, just like Cannon. You aren't unsociable at all, Maria. Fuck, wrong voice. Wanted to be like him. You said the meal was ready, right? Yes. I'm sorry. Your meal has been fully prepared, so please allow me to guide you all to the mansion. Shannon bowed again formally, and returned to her duty mode. We realized that if we made her stick around for any more light conversation, it would actually make it harder for her to do her job. We got up off our butts and avoided interfering with her work any further. So, shall we go to the mansion? Everyone's probably hungry, right? Yeah. I'm really looking forward to Goda's food. That guy was apparently a chef at this famous hotel, so he's super good at cooking. Ooh, I can't wait. Let's go, Maria. We're gonna stuff ourselves like pigs. Stuff ourselves like pigs. No. You can't take everything Battler says seriously, okay? Because he's always just joking around. Okay, let's go. Under Shannon's guidance, we headed towards the mansion. Lots of different screens. They're very nice looking. Met once again by the magnificent Rose Garden, we continued onward, as the intimidating mansion of the Ushiromiyas head family came into view. It had apparently been built shortly after the war, so you could feel the dignity of almost a half-century hanging about it. After the war? World War II? Or World War I? Probably if it's in the 80s, World War II would make more sense if it's almost a half-century. The building was gorgeous on the surface, but old as it was, equipment such as its AC and heating were apparently quite frail. According to Jessica, midwinter was especially tough, what with all the drafts. Haven't these people ever heard of kotatsu? That's the heating table, I think. I used to think it was called a tonkotsu, hence my winter 2018 anime preview video, where I joked about a tonkotsu being a... what was it? Kotatsu? I forget already. As we entered the entrance hall, an aged servant greeted us. Now him I remembered. Genji, Japanese text, who had been working here longer than anyone, filled the role of a head servant. Battler, it had been quite some time since last we met. As our eyes met, he greeted me with a calm, composed voice. Sorry if you hear my dog barking, she always barks at the dumbest shit. His bow wasn't as graceful or refined as Goda's, but despite its simplicity, it communicated his feelings very well. Genji, it really has been a while. You look well. Thank you, I have been quite well. And Battler, you have become a splendid young man. You are beginning to resemble the master in his youth. I look like grandfather? Guess that means grandfather was pretty popular with the ladies when he was young. From here on, I shall take Shannon's place and accompany you. Please come this way. Shannon bowed deeply and watched us leave. The music in this game is really nice, I must say. After that, we headed towards the dining room under Genji's guidance. Genji, just like Kumasawa, stood in stark contrast to us young people who had grown beyond recognition over the last 6 years. His appearance was exactly the same as in my memories from 6 years ago. But before that, he was a hella cool ninja. It was as though time had stopped since the last time we met. Genji was an extremely quiet and diligent person. He was basically grandfather's close aide or caregiver. And you might even call him grandfather's companion of many years. In fact, it seems he was... Fuck, I can't read. In fact, it seems he was by grandfather's side even more often than my late grandmother was. Oh yeah, your grandma's dead. Are we ever gonna learn about her? Probably not. According to Jessica, grandfather trusted him more than any of his blood relatives. But I wonder how long he served. I never got the details, but I heard something about him being here since the very beginning, when this mansion was first constructed. Which would mean that he's dedicated half of his life to serving here. It's easy to see why he's so trusted. As we passed through a massive hall that extended up into the second story of the mansion with no separating floor, I spotted something that hadn't existed in my memory of 6 years ago. What is it? Ooh. A little panning shot. Oh! Oh yeah, this. This thing. Yep. The witch. The demon lord. It was an awfully big portrait hanging right in front of the stairs that rose to the second floor. Without thinking, I stopped walking, captivated by it. Since I'd stopped so fast, Maria, who was following behind me, ran into my back. Eh? Sorry. Hey, Jessica, has that picture always been there? I pointed at the big, prominently displayed portrait in the hall. Everyone else stopped too. Oh, right. When you last came here, that hadn't been hung yet, had it? When was it again? Well, if my memory doesn't fail me, it was put on display sometime around the year before last. You are correct, sir. In April of the year before last, the master put it on display there, having previously ordered a painter to create it. Grandfather did that? So he paid to have it painted just for him, huh? The portrait suited this western mansion, and that woman in the elegant dress gave off a sense of refinement. I couldn't have guessed her age, but her sharp eyes and the strong will she seemed to possess made her look youthful. She seemed somehow different from the composed middle-aged woman you often see in famous pictures. If she'd had normal black hair, I might have assumed it was a portrait of my long-deceased grandmother in her prime. However, she had beautiful blonde hair and didn't look Japanese at all. So, just who is this lady? Maria answered that simple question enthusiastically, as though proud she knew the answer. I know. She's Beatrice. What? Bayonetta? Bayonetta?! Beatrice. She's a witch. Didn't you ever hear stories about her long ago? A witch? You mean the witch of this island? I think I already said this, but Rokanjima is a small island, only 10 kilometers in circumference. However, that's actually pretty massive, considering that only the Ushiromiyas family lives here. So only the harbor and the area around the mansion were set up to be lived in. Beyond that, the island remained as untouched as when it was uninhabited. The vast and empty forest had absolutely no lights, phones, or people passing through. To understand how dangerous that is, you need to forget your common sense as a city dweller. After all, if you happen to fall down a hole in the depths of the forest and sprain your ankle, no one would come to save you, no matter how much you cried or screamed. Then, once the sun went down, the forest would be wrapped in complete darkness, since there were no streetlights. And since there were no signs, it'd be easy to get lost and confused, losing your sense of direction inside that dark forest. Nowadays, most people see a forest as a peaceful place, but to the people of bygone eras, before the light of civilization drove out the night, forests were as geographically separated from civilization as the sea. Wow, this music is intense. They were oceans above the ground. Fishermen who go out into the ocean are putting their lives at risk, despite their technical knowledge. In the same way, hunters who go out to the forest are in danger, despite having specialized knowledge of their own. If children were to go play in such a dangerous forest, something terrible might happen. Someone's parents must have thought so. Maybe grandmother first said it, or maybe it was grandfather himself. Or perhaps the story's been passed down on this island since ancient times. There's a terrible witch in the forest, so you must not go in. At some point, this ghost story of Rokanjima was born. This is the legend of Rokanjima's witch. That's why, when we talk about a witch on this island, we're referring to the master of that vast and savage forest. Come to think of it, when I stayed at this mansion as a little kid, during those eerie nights when the wind and rain pounded on the windows, I remember being terrified by a story of the forest witch, who roamed around searching for human sacrifices. So, Beatrice, huh? When George mentioned it, I searched my memory and was sure I recalled hearing a name like that when I was little. I see. Still, I totally forgot that the witch in that legend had an elegant name like Beatrice. So, did grandfather go out of his way to have a portrait made just because we grandchildren didn't believe the story? She's the witch from grandfather's delusions. Ever since he had this picture hanged, he's been having a harder and harder time telling the difference between truth and fantasy. To us, she's just a witch that exists in grandfather's mind, but to him, she's a being that exists on this island. Exists. He says he had that painting made because the rest of us would be incapable of understanding otherwise. Humph. The whole thing's creepy as hell. Milady, this portrait is precious to the master. I beg of you, do not say such things in front of him. I know. Even if you didn't tell me, I'd never do something like that. Jessica glanced at the portrait with an irritated gaze before turning away. Let's go. We're making everyone wait in the dining room. Ew, I'm hungry. Only a small portion of this island was controlled by the Ushiromiyas family. All of the lawless remainder was the domain of the witch, Beatrice. You might even call her the true ruler of Rokenjima. I felt a faint revival of that unsettling sense of misfortune, which I'd felt when I learned of the tutelary god's shrine being struck by lightning. And I remembered that Kumasawa tried to tell an ominous story about Rokenjima before Jessica stopped her. I don't know what she was planning to tell us about this island, but I do know one thing. It isn't the Ushiromiyas family that rules Rokenjima. It's the witch, Beatrice. That's right. After all, this is the witch's island. Battler! Ooh, you're slow! When I looked around, everyone was already heading towards the dining room. I hurriedly chased after them. Okay, shit's gonna hit the fan soon. We walked up to the huge double doors that led to the dining room. Genji knocked. I have brought the children. Please pardon the intrusion. The doors were opened and we were invited inside. The dining room, which looked exactly like you'd imagine a rich person's dining room to be, had a super long table that was obviously positioned with no purpose other than to make the guests conscious of their rank. Our parents were already sitting in accordance with that ordering. You're late, brats. Hurry up and take a seat. The old bastard pressed us to sit. The only gaps in that group of people were the spots we were supposed to sit, which only made us feel our tardiness all the more. The seat at the head of the table, called the incipient's chair, was for the most highly ranked, reserved for grandfather. It was still empty. He probably wanted to show up last for dramatic effect. From the perspective of someone facing the incipient's chair head-on, the seating order went from left to right, with the lower-ranking seats progressing in rows of two further away from it. So the left-hand side of the first row, closest to the incipient's chair, was where Uncle Kraus should have sat, since he was the second highest in rank. It looked like he hadn't arrived yet, so that seat was empty. Across from his chair on the right side of the first row sat the eldest daughter of the family, Aunt Eva, who was the third highest in rank. The left-hand side of the second row was for the fourth highest in rank. There sat my damn dad, Rudolph, the third of the siblings. Across from him on the right side of the second row sat Aunt Rosa, the youngest sibling. At this point, you might expect their husbands and wives to come next. But nope, the left-hand seat in the third row, rank number 6, belonged to Jessica. Opposite her was George. I sat next to Jessica, and Maria sat across from me. Then finally, next to me on the left-hand side of the fifth row, sat Aunt... I can't say that. Sat Aunt Natsuhi, the 10th highest in rank. Opposite her was Uncle Hideyoshi. Next to Aunt Natsuhi in the 6th row and the final seat on the left-hand side sat Kyrie. The seat opposite to Kyrie was empty, even though silverware had been set there and everything. According to this ranking system, that spot was where Aunt Rosa's husband should be sitting. Even though he wasn't supposed to be coming, his place was made up. Oh, so she is actually married. Okay. Normally, ranking systems of this sort give spouses equal positions as their partners, but the Ushiromiyas family system was unique. Maybe it's a remnant of male chauvinism? Chauvinism? If you start with the assumption that a woman's womb is just something to be borrowed, then the children of direct descent would come first, directly followed by the grandchildren. In other words, spouses have no blood ties and are therefore placed at the end of the line. That makes sense. It's terrible, but by this system, my grandmother would be ranked even lower than me if she were still alive. In their youth, they obey their father. After they get married, their husband, after aging, their children... Wait, I can't understand what this is saying. In their youth, they obey their father. After they get married, their husband. After aging, their children. Oh. Okay, that makes sense. There's the old saying, women have no home in any realm. But Eva's third? And Rosa's fifth? Long ago, when I was still incapable of figuring all this out, I'd thought it was so great that we could all chat in our little groups. Adult siblings with adult siblings and cousins with cousins. However, now that I can re-examine the seating order after growing up a bit, it stirs up some very complicated feelings in me. Aunt Natsuhi, who was married to the eldest son and was the de facto number 2 in managing this family, sat to my right, which meant that she was 2 steps lower than me in the ranking order. It was hard to imagine what might be going on inside her heart. That's why I made a small apologetic gesture towards her before sitting down. How nice to see you, Battler. You've grown quite tall, haven't you? Oh, yep. 6 long years of eating well, sampling various cuisines, and deriving sustenance from Mother Earth's bountiful gifts. Hard work, but I pulled through. Growing just like a boy, I see. How tall are you now? I guess about 180 centimeters. But Aunt Natsuhi, that's where you're supposed to say, heck, sounds like all you did was eat. Huh? Oh, I'm sorry. After a short pause, she did laugh with me, but it seemed she couldn't quite figure out what she was supposed to be laughing at. This woman is Aunt Natsuhi, Japanese text. She's the wife of the eldest son of the family, meaning she's my father's older brother's wife. Is it simpler if I just call her Jessica's mother? Yes! Yes, it is! It feels bad to say it like this, but while I didn't exactly dislike her, I didn't particularly like her either. She hardly ever spoke with us kids, and all my memories of her involve her talking to the adults about complicated things with a scary look on her face. In fact, since we hardly ever exchanged words, I spent a long time trying to figure out how I should approach her, though my efforts seemed to have ended in failure. The silverware sat neatly on the table, but the meal itself hadn't been brought in yet. As a general rule, you couldn't start a meal until the person sitting at the head of the table arrived. So as long as grandfather didn't come, lunch would be put on hold indefinitely. Not even the appetizers would arrive. Simply put, the silence in this room was caused by our parents enduring their hunger while they waited for grandfather to arrive. However, the grandfather from my memories would always show up on time to meals like this. He was the kind of person who would never be so late that it kept everyone waiting, especially after the entire group had arrived. Well, even though Kraus isn't here yet. Grandfather's pretty late. As far as I can remember, he was always strict about time. Well, that might have been true 6 years ago, but it hasn't been that way lately. In fact, he's off in his own little world so often that he doesn't even show up at family meals. Still, I figured he'd at least come down today. Then again, I feel a lot more relaxed and happy without him. Jessica! When her mother scolded her, Jessica stuck her tongue out and looked away. No way around it. Might as well wait until our host arrives. When I glanced at the clock, I saw that it was almost 12:20. Huh. Even though it's been like 30 minutes since it did that little animation. Oh, there's Kinzo. I'm back now. Ushiromiya Kinzo, Japanese text, the aged family head of the Ushiromiya head family. This man could be seen in his study. The clock had already passed noon, but he didn't even attempt to rise from his seat. With his spectacles on, he built up a growing pile of books with elaborate bindings, which he then read intently. You couldn't really say that he was having too much fun to stop. Rather, he filled the room with a sense of impatience, or perhaps a sense of impending danger, as though every second wasted was a tragedy. In this sealed room, a dense dust danced through the air, which was thick with the stench of chemicals that exuded a mix of suspicious odors. Those odors were somehow sweet and heavy. If anyone with a normal nose came in here, the first thing they'd do would be to open a window and ventilate this room. The knocking against the study door had been going on for a while. A voice calling father sometimes mingled with the knocks. Oh, it's probably Kraus. As Kinzo heaved a deep sigh, he snapped shut the old book in his hands and slammed it on the table. Then he yelled at Kraus, who was still knocking on the door. Silence! Enough with that racket, you fool! Who told you the door would be opened if you but knocked? I'll crucify the imbecile! Do you wish to suffer the same fate? Father, this is the day of the family conference, which happens only once a year, is it not? Everyone's gathered down below. Please come out. Kraus called out to his father through the door. Kinzo always shut himself up in the study, hating it when nearly anyone, even his family, entered the room. For that reason, Kraus had no chance but to call him from the corridor like this. Molest me not! Just who is this everyone of which you speak? Do you mean the fools trying to drag me out of here? Then kill them all! Tear them apart! Use their bodies for firewood and feed them into the witch's hearth! Put a pot in that hearth to boil the wormwood! Force the imbeciles who dare try to lure me out of here to drink the broth of the apocalypse! Jesus Christ, I will soak their dregs in liquor! Ah, where is Genji? Call for Genji! Have my demonic absinthe prepared! The whispering of the green fairy reaches me no longer. Ah, where is Genji? Bring him here! Jesus Christ, Kinzo. On the other side of the door, Kraus, Nanjo, and Genji kept waiting for the master of the house, who stubbornly refused to come out. Oh god, he does not look like how I expected him to look. He looks short, even. Looks like he hates me to the core. My voice doesn't reach him anymore. Kraus shrugged as though saying it's no use and smiled bitterly. From the beginning, he hadn't really expected his father to respond to his calls. However, since it was the duty of the eldest son, he had tried as a formality. Kinzo, your sons, daughters, and grandchildren have come to see you, have they not? Could you just let them see your face, if only for a short while? Shut up! Be silent! You dare to admonish me, Nanjo? I never told anyone to get you. I told them to get Genji. Now call for him immediately. Time is short, and the apostles are already readying their trumpets. So why can't you foolish sheep understand? Kinzo slammed an old heavy book against the table over and over. That racket clearly expressed his great displeasure. Jesus Christ, he looks angry. Kinzo put his spectacles down and flew up from his chair. He spread his arms wide open, as if to sing to a packed opera house, as if appealing to someone, and yelled. Why? Why is there always something in my way? I would throw it all away. I would offer up everything. And there is only one thing I ask in repayment. Oh, Beatrice, if I could see your smile but one more time, I would plunder the smiles of the earth and offer them all up to you. Oh, commanders of the legions of locusts, reap the smiles of the earth. Cough, 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 cough. Ah, everything is filthy. Everything is irksome. Why must I suffer this impediment on this most precious of days? Call for Genji! I'm gonna give him the Togami voice, because, you know, he seems relatively posh and douchey. I have no idea what he's yelling about. He's probably lost his mind by now. Kraus, isn't it a bit harsh to say such a thing of your own father? My father is already dead. There's nothing here but a phantom of what father once was. At any rate, as long as he has no intention of coming out, there's nothing we can do. Kinzo. Choking coughs continue. Oh wait, fuck. Choking coughs continued to pour from the study. I'm going back downstairs. It would be a waste to let the fruits of Goda's prized cooking talent get any colder. It's one of the few things our relatives can look forward to when they come to this house. Humph. Kraus spun around. He looked at his watch, mumbling and acting as though he had wasted time doing something he knew would be in vain. Genji, father is calling for you. Keep him company. Certainly. Dr. Nanjo, let's go eat. If we stay here any longer, the sweet stench will ruin our sense of taste. Without waiting for Nanjo, Kraus went downstairs. Genji urged Nanjo to go and eat. Nanjo glanced between the study door and Kraus's back as the latter disappeared down the stairs, then let out a deep sigh. Sorry, Genji, but please allow me to leave this in your hands. Yes, please leave it to me. Do what you can to avoid giving him alcohol. That's a habit far too difficult to break. Is Genji not here yet? Who dares keep Genji from coming? Where's Genji? Call for Genji! My throat hurts! Please, allow me to handle the situation here. Very well. Forgive me. Nanjo bowed slightly and descended the stairs. Genji watched him leave, then knocked on the study door. Master, it is Genji. Genji? Why have you kept me waiting so long? You're alone, I trust? Correct. I am alone. Kinzo returned to his seat in the study and pressed an old-fashioned switch on the table. After a small delay, the heavy sound of the door unlocking could be heard. Kinzo was convinced that his family wanted to make a mess of his study. Or perhaps someone had once opened the window for some air and ended up scattering things that to him were important research materials, leaving him in a terrible mood. Kinzo had outfitted his room with a formidable lock, preventing anyone from entering without his permission and thereby sealing himself in a jail of his own making. Genji, whom he trusted the most, was relatively free to enter the room, but even that didn't always hold. If Kinzo was in a bad mood, even Genji wouldn't be able to enter. Anyone else would be limited to holding a conversation through the door, unable even to see Kinzo's face. And most of the time, what they got could hardly be called a conversation. However, this didn't trouble the rest of the family much. After all, it just wasn't worth the effort to disturb this aging family head, who was impossible to please and always stayed shut away, immersed in his research. Taking advantage of his refusal to leave his room, they supported his isolation, putting his care entirely into the hands of the servants. Genji, my usual. I'm busy. Yes, sir. Genji headed to a corner of the study. There, suspicious-looking bottles boasting venomous colors were on display. They were actually liquor, but considering the shady atmosphere of this room, one might easily suspect them of being some ghastly poison. Inside the study, the mysterious collection of books gathered by Kinzo had grown into a mountain. They were bizarre, ancient, or banned books, all of them either forbidden, cursed, or sealed. But if you tried to call them old books, Kinzo would fly into a rage and say, "Call them grimoires!" Oh my god, he's a total weeb even though he's Japanese. There were also many mysterious objects that presumably held some meaning with regards to black magic, like candles suspiciously melted and molded into strange shapes. The constellations drawn on a certain celestial globe... What? A certain celestial globe contained quite a few shapes that would draw puzzled looks from anyone familiar with today's night sky. The carelessly strewn about books contained many illustrations, all of them of a religious or mysterious nature, including some depicting demonically grotesque subjects or bizarre diagrams of various magic circles. His dream is to live in Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. He is father. Quite literally, even. And above all, a sweet poisonous smell filled the room, profoundly assaulting the eyes and noses of those who entered for the first time. Eventually, it must surely make a person go numb and lose their grip on reality. Inside that study, Genji prepared Kinzo's usual drink with a well-trained hand. No one would even think of drinking such an ominous dark green liquid in that complex and ornate glass, unless someone first told them it was alcohol. He poured a little into the glass. Then he placed a cube of sugar in a strangely shaped spoon and poured water from a pitcher over it. Strangely, when the transparent water was poured, the dark green liquid turned a cloudy white. It was a strange optical illusion, as though the water had caused a chemical reaction and made the drink become even more unrecognizable as liquor. Then Genji added original flavors Kinzo loved, fine-tuning its taste. There was no recipe. Its success was measured only by Kinzo's mood swings when he drank it, and it had taken Genji many decades to learn how to do it right. Genji placed a glass on a tray and walked over to Kinzo. By this time, Kinzo was gazing out the window. Here, master. Thank you. Kinzo had regained his composure and was now unrecognizable as the shouting, screaming, yelling man from a few moments ago. Looking at this man from behind as he tilted his glass and gazed down at the scenery beyond the window, he projected a sense of dignity and intelligence. To allow Kinzo to set his glass down at any time, Genji motionlessly waited behind Kinzo and to his left, as though he were a living sideboard. Then, without averting his eyes from the window, Kinzo held out his glass. There was only a mouthful remaining. It was not a gesture intended to set it upon the tray, but a motion to hand the glass over to Genji. Drink, my friend. Your words are too kind for me. No need for ceremony between us. Drink, my friend. Thank you. Genji respectfully received the glass and inclined it a little to taste its contents. After that, he gulped it down. I don't know who's speaking. I think it's Kinzo. I attempted to imitate your concoction, but no matter how I try, I cannot replicate the taste. The way you make it is pure relish. Thank you very much. It is the fruit of your guidance, Master. Humph. Kinzo smiled at his loyal subject, who refused to put aside rank even when asked to. However, he was not making fun of him. His smile was relaxed, as though chuckling at a close friend's old, unshakable habit. We have grown old together. I stopped counting the years long ago. It is entirely thanks to you, Master, that I have been able to live like this until today. Kinzo gave a faint smile, as if to say he didn't need any flattery. Until now, you have served me exceedingly well. My sons call me eccentric. The servants that were once many have all quit in fear of me. Only you serve me even now. Your words are more than I deserve. My life will not last much longer. My sons are vultures, lazily waiting for my inheritance to fall into their hands. Kraus is a fool who squanders money like water, who throws away 2 gold coins to obtain 1. And then he has the gall to claim that he's earned money. Eva is a slave to money, who thinks of me as a mere chicken. When I die, she plans to use my bones to make a broth. That dunce Rudolph just wants to fool around with women. Rosa bore the baby of a man who came from nowhere, and about whom we know nothing. Jessica is incompetent and uneducated. George has none of what it takes to be a man. Battler is a fool who threw away the honor of the Ushiromiya family, and Maria is obscene to the eye. Why is Ushiromiya blood so incompetent? Is there no one worthy to inherit the glory I built? Of course. I know this is part of Beatrice's curse. I know it. You golden witch. Are you trying to take revenge against me in this way? If you want to hate me, then do so. If you want to run away, then run. I won't let you go. I won't let you go. Won't let you go. Won't let you go. You belong to me. You must always be in my arms. For all my life. You must stay in my birdcage for all eternity, whispering only to me. Beatrice. Why? Won't you smile back at me? Oh! Beatrice! Oh! I can't scream because it hurts my throat. After howling, Kinzo choked once again. Genji set the tray and glass down and rubbed his master's back. Genji's facial expression did not change. It was always like this. Thank you, my friend. When his seemingly deranged fit subsided, Kinzo regained his composure once again. It was like seeing 2 different people, a wild Kinzo and a composed Kinzo, living together inside one body. And so, I have decided. I cannot bear to spend my dimmed remaining years procrastinating like this. If I have one final coin to bet, then I choose to abandon it to the whims of the demon's roulette. The power of magic is always determined by the risk of the gamble. Like visiting a shrine at the hour of the ox in an ancient Japanese sorcery, to nail a cursed doll to a tree. Magical power is produced specifically because of the risk that it will be seen within the 70 days the curse takes. The greater the risk, the stronger the magic power will be. Many miracles that happened in myth might be called the crystallization of shocking magic power, with a low probability of occurrence and astronomical risk. That Moses parted the waters of the sea was not a miracle of God. The risk of that desperate situation, cornered by soldiers on the Red Sea's shores, weighed upon the scales of slaughter and gave birth to that miraculous magic power. If the same thing occurred again on the same scale, the sea would surely fail to part. After all, Moses was able to magnificently summon a miracle engraved on but one of the countless, innumerable results on the roulette of those with power. This is the force that can triumph over astronomical odds. Indeed, good fortune that can grasp miracles is magical power itself. To obtain this mighty power, one must face the risk of despair. Those who possess no magical power may call that desperation rather than a bet. However, people who truly do possess magic power can grasp hold of that miracle and make the enigma come into being. And if that power exists within me, I'll seize that miracle. I'll have a chance at making the wish I devoted my life towards come true. Kinzo looked up to the sky outside the window. He spread his arms as if appealing to someone up in the skies. If only I were capable of grasping that miracle. Oh, Beatrice, show me your lovely smile once more. No matter how much time passes, your face does not vanish. I just want to see your smile, that is all. I'll return everything you granted me. I'll return all the glory I've gained since that day. I don't need fortune, prestige, or gold. I'll return everything you gave me. I just want to see your smile. I beg you, Beatrice. Oh! His nonsensical yells became a scream and then a wail. Kinzo slumped to the floor, tearing at it with both hands. Genji had no choice but to wordlessly watch over his master's lamentations. Jesus Christ. Well, I guess I'm gonna end the episode here. That was a pretty crazy one. It started off relatively calm, but then it just got crazy, and now my throat hurts, and Jesus fucking Christ. But, yeah, whatever. With all that out of the way, that's gonna be it for this episode. If you liked it, be sure to press the like button, and if you didn't like it, fuck you too. Remember to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all my videos and stuff. And as always, my name's Godzi, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye!